Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest 8-second gaming, and Season 16 is finally here. I know I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am, but there are so many changes that are coming out that you guys might be a little bit overwhelmed. So we're doing this video right now. These are 10 things that you guys need to know about going into Season 16. But guys, real talk for a second. If you want to become an absolute machine in Apex during Season 16, then you need to check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there, we have hundreds of guides on the site already, plus more coming out every single week. Our top level coaches are already making new guides to cover all the reworks, the new gun, everything that you need to know. If you want to hit a new peak rank, it's the best place to go. So click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But okay, with that out of the way, let's hop back into things. And the first thing that you need to know about going into Season 16 is that the R99 is going to be an absolute machine this season. The R99 went through kind of a little bit of a rough patch within the last couple seasons. It just wasn't a very viable gun. All the SMGs were pretty much better than it, and it wasn't really the standout meta pick that it used to be way back in the day. But in Season 16, it has received a buff. It received 1 damage more per bullet, and some people might be sitting there thinking 1 damage per bullet isn't really a big buff, but trust me guys, it is, because the R99 is now going to be doing the same amount of damage that it used to do when it was in the care package. Yes, you heard me right. A ground loot weapon that a lot of people love to use is going to be doing the same amount of damage that it did as a care package gun. This seemingly small buff is going to skyrocket the R99's viability. Before, it was never worth picking up over a Volt or a car, but now because the Volt's in the crafter and it's getting this buff, it's going to be a good pick. And if you were good with the R99 before, you're going to be even better now. So this is a huge change, and if you guys are an R99 enjoyer, you're gonna be happy. Now the second thing that you guys need to know are ARs are not going to be as dominant in close range. We have been in such an AR focused meta for such a long time now. Yes, other guns can do well. The marksman rifles can do well. The SMGs can do well. But in the past, if you wanted a go-to gun that you could use in every situation, in every game, you picked up a flatline or a 301. Close range, medium range, long range, it doesn't matter. They were able to do it all and do it well. And thankfully, Respawn has understood that, and they do want to move a little bit away from the AR meta. So they've given a massive nerf to the hip fire for assault rifles in close range. It's going to take their viability down a little bit and make SMGs a lot better in those close quarters situations. Does that mean that ARs are going to be completely useless? Absolutely not. If you want to run an AR, you can still do it, but when you get into those up close battles, do be conscious of the fact that you're not going to be as reliable as you once were. It's going to be a little bit tricky because a lot of us do have that muscle memory of just pulling out the AR and just kind of spraying. But now you're going to have to be a little bit conscious of it. You're going to have to really remind yourself to not spray with the hip fire. And hey, maybe go back to number 1 and run an R99 too, and then you can just spray that. But the third thing is something that we've been asking for such a long time. And this is that the firing range is going to be even better for warm-ups. If you guys have been following the channel for a while, you'll know that I always say you should be hopping into the warm-up before your rank grinds. You want to be jumping in, you want to be warming up your aim, you want to be using and abusing the firing range. But for some people, it got a little bit boring and mundane because it was just the firing range. It was very bland. But now in Season 16, you are going to be able to do so many different things in the firing range. You can make the dummies move and move at different speeds. You can set different hit marks to see where you're exactly hitting around or on the target. You have infinite ammo, so you don't have to keep going back and picking up stack after stack. There has been so many different quality of life changes that make the firing range just so much better. And guys, if you aren't warming up yet, you absolutely have to. Season 16 is going to make you such a better player in the firing range, and then you can translate that into your rank grinds. And while you're in the firing range, you can warm up for thing number 4, because this is the Nemesis assault rifle is going to be insane and you need to use it before they nerf it. Now, Season 16 is not introducing a new legend. We already know that. The only thing that's coming in is the Nemesis assault rifle. This is a burst weapon that as you do more damage, it starts to ramp up, so it does burst faster. And this gun is going to be doing the exact same amount of DPS as a turbocharged Devotion. Just wrap your head around that for a second. An assault rifle doing the same amount of damage as a gun with a gold hop up. It is going to be such a nasty pickup, and you guys are probably going to see this a lot this season, not just because it's a new gun, but because it's going to be absolutely broken. The devs did go on record saying that they want the Nemesis to become the new go-to assault rifle. The Flatline and the 301 have been on the throne way too long, and they want a new gun to take that spot. And from the looks of things, I don't see a reason why the Nemesis cannot be that gun. Everything on paper and from the playtest look like it is just going to be an absolute laser beam. If you weren't already planning on picking this gun up, you definitely should start to think about it. And maybe if you aren't comfortable with burst weapons, this is your time to learn. But learning is a great transition into number 5, because in this season, the ranked maps are going to be on a rotation. Now, this is the first time in Apex history that we are seeing this, and it is huge, because every 24 hours, the ranked map is going to be changing instead of us being on one map the entire split. It will be rotating between 3 different maps: World's Edge, Broken Moon, and Stormpoint. Now, I know that some people aren't the biggest fans of Stormpoint or Broken Moon, but I personally think that they're great map for ranked, and I'm very excited about this change. But one thing that you guys need to be paying attention to is what map it is on for that day, because each individual map has its own individual playstyle, and you need to be changing your playstyle for each map. If you aren't paying attention and you're just running around doing whatever, then you're not going to be climbing. There is a reason that before the devs didn't do this, because you want to have one specific playstyle that you have on a specific map. And if it's constantly changing, then you can't really practice that one playstyle. Now, that's not saying that this is a bad change. I am actually very happy that the devs did this, and I am looking forward to this season because of it. But this can be very detrimental to some people's climbs because they only have one playstyle, and it might not work on Stormpoint or Broken Moon or even World's Edge. So you might want to take this season to kind of be a little bit of a learning curve and then practice some other playstyles that you can better climb. But now let's talk about the 6th thing that you need to know, and that also kind of works into the map rotation, because not only are you going to be having to learn different playstyles, you might have to be learning different team comps as well. Different maps have different strengths and weaknesses for specific legends. And while sometimes the tiers don't really move a lot, some legends are a lot more useful on other maps. Like, for example, Watson is really good on World's Edge because there's a lot more buildings for her to play, and she can use her ultimate in a lot more safer positions. But if you were to put her on Olympus, and guys, I know Olympus is not in rotation, it's just an example. But yeah, if you put her on Olympus, Olympus has a lot of very open sightlines and you don't play a lot of buildings. Therefore, her fences are a lot less useful because you can just shoot them a lot easier, and her ultimate is also a lot more useless because it's just a wide open target most of the time. So while she's really good on World's Edge, she is not useful on Olympus, and that does happen with other legends on World's Edge, Broken Moon, and Stormpoint. So if you are looking to pick a new main this season, maybe try to pick a legend that does well on every single map or can morph easily into different team comps, like Valkyrie, for example. But now let's jump into the 7th thing that you guys need to know, and that is that Mirage Voyage is OP. Now, thankfully, something good comes out of Mirage, because we all know his character's a letdown. Get ready for all the angry comments. But with the anniversary event comes the return of Mirage Voyage. And for those of you that don't know what it is, it's basically just a new POI that has a lot of really good loot, because you can activate the party, it sends out a bunch of the cargo bot holding things, and you can get a ton of gold and purple loot. This was always one of my favorite spots to drop in ranked when it was on World's Edge, because it sets you up so beautifully for the rest of the game. But again, if you guys don't know, Mirage Voyage is going to be on all 3 maps. So if you're the type of person that loves to drop hot, drop at a contested spot, fight for your loot, Mirage Voyage is definitely going to be the spot for you, because tons of people are going to want to go there for the loot and the nostalgia reasons. You can rack up a ton of easy KP if you're the type of person that loves to fight off drop. But now going into the 8th thing that you guys need to know, and despite scans taking a massive hit in this update, they're still going to be fairly strong. Now in this update, Seer and Bloodhound both did get a pretty big nerf. Seer's scans aren't going to be as impactful, and also his passive is going to not be scanning constantly and make a lot more noise when doing so. Also, Bloodhound isn't going to be able to be scanning as frequently, and they're not going to last as long. But scans will always be strong in Apex. If you give somebody free unbannable wall hacks, it's going to be a very strong tool to use. Bloodhound is probably going to be the one that's more used this season because their passive rework actually does sound pretty good, and their ultimate is fantastic in fights. Even though it's not giving the cooldown reduction anymore, it's still great because you are insanely fast and your strafe speed is just impeccable. So if you were one of the people that were hoping that the scan meta was just going to go away completely, I'm sorry to let you down, but it's not. It's still going to be there. It's not going to be super broken, it's just going to be super broken. Now jumping into number 9, this is another thing to do with Legends, and this is that Wraith and Pathfinder are going to be coming into the meta once again. Now I'm not saying that Wraith kind of left the meta, she just kind of became a little bit less used. But both Wraith and Pathfinder are getting extended distances on their ultimates, which are going to be insanely useful for specific team comps. Pathfinder is still going to be a little bit more of a niche pick because other Legends are still going to be just a better option, but for the Pathfinder players that are wanting to be a little bit more team oriented, you are going to be in a much better position. And for all the people that swapped off Wraith because they thought that she was a little bit bad in the meta, you guys can actually go back to her now because she is going to be good once again. Her portal distance is going to be absolutely busted. And for those endgame positions where you really need that extra little distance to get your team into the game-winning spot, it's going to be able to do so. Or even if you want to be a portal dancer and buy your team just a little bit of extra time so you can get more placement, you can do that. These two are going to be very solid picks this meta, and I'm very excited for it because I do enjoy them being in the meta. I do like both of them. And number 10, this is for all the Horizon people that were maining her last season because of how strong she was. She's still going to be a strong pick. Now, Horizon did receive a bunch of nerfs in the update, but with some early playtesting, we can see that the nerfs did not actually hit her that hard. They said that they wanted to add a bunch of bloom onto her gravity lift. You can still beam people off of it. You're probably not going to be able to one-clip somebody off of it, but if you're still hitting somebody for 60 to 80 damage while going up your gravity lift and taking almost none in return, that is great initial damage that you can absolutely capitalize off of and still win a fight just based off that alone. Horizon is still probably going to be a very solid pick, and if you mained her last season and didn't want to stop maining her because you fell in love with her, do not worry, she will still be so strong. And I was a little bit excited because I thought that Horizon was going to be coming out of meta, and I'm a little bit let down because she's not, but you know, we can't get everything that we wanted. Season 16 still looks absolutely fantastic. But let me know what you guys are most excited for this season in the comments down below, and if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys all for watching. Once again, I'm S16 Gaming, and I will see you guys in the next one.